A crime has taken place in the lovely little town of Gulmondi. At the late hours of the night, a theft has been committed by a burglar famous for the art of disguise. The suspects who were near the scene of crime has been assembled to the town sheriff, and it is up to him now to interrogate the suspects and identify the culprit. Krafters, say hello to our brand new game of manipulation, trickery, and deceit. Innocent until proven guilty. After releasing 3 board games in the past 3 years, Crafts and Ace of Spades BD has created a highly manipulative game. A game where you control your own luck. In this game review, we will be going through all the necessary details required to play this highly entertaining game. To start with, the story. As we have mentioned, a theft has occurred in the late hours of the night in the town of Gulmondi. There were multiple suspects near the crime scene who are now brought to the town's police officer in charge. The biggest catch is the theft has been known to be committed by a burglar or burglars specialized in disguising themselves. So it is the duty of the police, with the aid of the innocent ones, to find out who is the culprit or culprits. Before we go on to the rules of how the game is to be played, let us have a look at the components of the game. As we can see, there's a couple of dice, the roll cards, character cards, health coins, the dice chart, and a manual for the game. To begin, fix the number of players who will be playing the game. On the manual, you'll be seeing a chart for the player numbers and their respective number of rolls for the game. For any number of players playing the game, there will only be one police officer. If 4 players are playing the game in total, then 2 of the players has to be civilian, the innocent ones, while 1 of the player needs to be burglar. In case of 5 players playing the game, there needs to be 2 civilians and 2 burglars, while for 6 players in total, there will be 3 civilians and 2 burglars. Once you have selected the number of players and taken out the roll cards, one player needs to shuffle the cards and distribute them to each player without displaying the roll. Every player will be keeping their roll cards to themselves and not expose it to the others, except for the player who is the police officer. The police officer needs to show the roll card and declare that he or she is the one in charge of this investigation, and the rest of the players are all suspects. Now comes the interesting part. Once the police has announced his presence, he or she will be distributing the character cards to the rest of the players randomly. The police will not be taking any character, as he is the investigator himself. The rest will be getting it. There are 5 characters in total. Joe, the whisperer, who never raises his voice. Jolly Lucy, who is always grinning and smiling. The moody professor, who is stern but never laughs. Tim, the bunny, who has the rabbit's teeth. And the monk, who has vowed never to speak. Once the character cards are distributed, each of the players, the suspects, will be revealing their character cards and introduce themselves to the others. The moment all the suspects have introduced themselves, they'll be putting their character card in front of them. Then the police officer will declare the start of the investigation. From that point onwards, every player needs to stay in their character. Keep in mind that the burglar is disguised, so any player who is not acting exactly as their character will be considered as a potential culprit. Now, the police officer will be distributing equal amount of health coins to all the players, including himself. It is recommended to distribute at least 5 or more coins for each player. The health coins are everything, as you'll be out of the game if you lose all of them. So, what is the objective of each players? The police wants the burglar to be exposed, so his objective is to observe all the players and try to penalize anyone who is suspected to be the burglar. If the burglars are out of the game by losing all the health coins, then the police has won. The burglar, on the other hand, would aim to make the cop and the civilian lose their health coins. The burglar will be pretending to be the civilian the whole game so that the police does not go against him. So he needs to stick to the character full time and also pitch the best possible acting to be the civilian. The burglar, or burglars, wins the game the instant the police loses all the health coins. The civilians, the poor innocent fellas, would aim to help the police officer to identify the burglar and expose the culprit. The civilians must stick to their characters, as not doing so will only pose them as a potential burglar. If a civilian dies, the police is in more danger as he has less people who are on his side. Hence, he has a higher chance of losing the game. Now, with the players in their character and loaded with their health coins, place the remaining of the health coins at the center of the playing area and start the game. Each player will roll both the dice together and then see what that represents on the dice chart. Let us have a look. If you roll a double 1, then you will gain a health coin. Though keep in mind that when it comes to gaining coins, you cannot have more coins than the number of coins you have started the game with. For example, if you started the game with 5 coins, then you cannot have more than 5 coins at any stage of the game. Next, if you roll a total of 3, then the one next to you, be it on the left or the right hand side, will be losing a health coin. This is where it gets very interesting, as it is your choice as to who loses the coin. The player on both sides of you needs to convince you that they are not the burglar, so the other player must be penalized. The choice is ultimately yours, so use it wisely. If you're the burglar, you'll aim to take out the potential civilian or the police, but do so without raising any suspicion about your role. The same goes for rolling a double 2, but in this case, either of the players on two sides of you will be losing 2 coins. It is ruthless on the player, but it will work out on your advantage if you can penalize the right opponent. Next, if you roll a total of 4, through a 3 and 1 that is, then you will get a pass, meaning there are no consequences and the dice rolling will go around to the next player. The same happens when you roll a total of 8 through a 6 and 2 or 5 and 3. If you roll a total of 5, then the one next to you will be gaining a health coin. Again, pick the opponent wisely. If you roll a double 3 or a double 4, you can directly report to the police officer to cast a vote against a particular player for suspicious behavior. The suspicion can emerge from that player stepping out of their assigned character or the player strategizing the game like a burglar would. Now the police is bound to cast a vote for that player. If majority of the player agrees with the claim, then that opponent will be losing 1 health coin. If you roll a double 5, then everybody else except for you will be losing a health coin. While if you roll a total of 11, then the dice rolling sequence will be reversed. The rest of the dice rolling results are similar to the ones I've explained thus far. The one thing that takes this game to a whole new level is the uncertainty. Except for the police officer, none of the other players' role is revealed till they run out of coins. For the police, he needs to distinguish the civilians from the burglars, which is hard since all the players are claiming to be civilians. For the burglar, it is important to commit to their character fully and be subtle while taking out coins from the police and potential civilians. If there are multiple burglars in the game, then one burglar must look out to the other players and figure out who is the other burglar. The same goes for civilians. If the civilians or the burglars work as a team, then there is a much higher chance for success. But for that to happen, the players really need to observe each other and find out who is with them and who is against them. Keep in mind that even if your intentions are clear to the other opponents and your role is sort of getting exposed via your strategies, you're not losing the game till you run out of coins. The game ends when the police or the burglar or burglars run out of coins. And that is it. Work on your acting skills, bring on your manipulative A-game, and step into the town of Gulmondi and play the intense game of innocent until proven guilty. You can place an order for the game on Krafters or Ace of Spades BD to have it delivered on your doorstep anywhere in Bangladesh. Do not hesitate to check out the 3 board games we have made over the past 3 years and to subscribe and keep an eye on our channel Chaos BD. We have many more things coming your way, so do fasten your seatbelts. Thank you, Krafters. Take care.